Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 401 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Chris DeHoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry,
Hello there, Chris.
Dana Eileen,
Hey, hey.
and joining us once again, Edward Grafton.
Hey, Chris.
How's everybody doing today?
I'm good.
Yes, that's what he said.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right. Super exciting, guys. Super exciting.
Hey, everything is sunshine and rainbows in the world.
It always is.
Yeah, we got lots to discuss this week, actually. Starting with some big news about Rockstar coming out of Bloomberg this week.
Mhm.
Apparently, GTA 6, which is still early in development, is said to be featuring the series' first modern female protagonist in story mode. There's a bit of a caveat to that. Returning to Vice City and kind of cleaning up the culture at Rockstar as they're developing the game as they go along. So yeah, what do we think about the possibilities of Rockstar cleaning up their image? Like, it's not exactly
Aren't
the
they all doing that
forefronts
right
of-
now?
I mean,
Every single game company right now. Isn't that what we're doing?
it's something that has to be done. A lot of these companies have been struggling with this for years, let's say. I think
what I
Rockstar.
hate?
What?
That they get to be in the news and be talked about for cleaning up their shit. Why don't we talk
Hmm.
about the people that don't have any shit to begin with?
That'd be no one.
Yeah,
I
that's,
know.
that's
I
the
was
answer.
It'd be a boring podcast, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Name
We're
four.
happy. Everybody's good.
Name
But I
four
think
good studios.
Rockstar is one of the ones that have been kind of known for that kind of boys culture. So to see them addressing it's good. But right now it seems like it's a big shift for the studio and a big shift for what they've tried to do as a company. So I don't know how much it's going to work, but it's good that it's happening.
Let's put it this way. They made the game that is famous for people like running around and beating hookers, which are usually women in this case. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's not even just like within their company. They've been so heavily in the products that they put out.
can't say I'm not guilty of doing it though. Just for the record, I'm not that girl that
Yeah.
didn't punch a hooker in GTA. But it's how you start gaming, isn't it? It's the initiation. No,
It is a strange rite of passage, you know.
Mhm.
it is absolutely being in my brother's room when I was a kid, running them over most of the time. That was more fun.
Employing the services and then running them over to get your money back. Yeah, it's great.
I think the
you know.
GTA series has changed quite a bit in recent years. They have tried to make it more story driven, tried to make it more of an experience in a giant living world where you happen to be able to beat up hookers and take the money.
Hey, I just want to give the
Really?
hookers the choice to beat us up and take their money back. That's
Mm.
all. No?
They do have it. They will punch back, I think. At least
Oh,
some
there
of
you
them
go.
will. Yeah.
I want them all to have that confidence. Come on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I'm very curious to see if they or how they pull this off. Because like even with GTA 5, when I was playing it back forever ago when it first came out, I found it kind of uncomfortable playing some of the certain segments where I think you're as Trevor, where you just snap and go postal, and hey, that's a
Yeah.
game mode. Cool. That's not really something you want to see in like current climate or even 10 years ago for that matter.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think GTA 5 did some things that might necessarily not hold up today. I think it was very pushing the limits at that time, but cultures change, and it's been, what is it, 10 years now since the game's been out? Is that
Aspen, yeah.
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 9. But yeah.
9? Yeah, but the culture has changed that much since the time GTA 5 first came out and the most recent release. So
Which one was San Andreas?
that was
What year was it? 2004?
2004? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah,
That
it does.
doesn't feel
Maybe even
good.
2005.
Okay,
Um,
good. That sounds slightly better. Thank you.
I remember working my first job in high school and like talking to the guys there about how excited we were for that game coming out.
Mhm.
So that's this age about 15.
It was
years.
2004.
Mm-hmm.
That is a solid 18 years, folks.
It
I did
is.
something 18 years ago. I'm going to bed. Good night.
I was 7
I
and
was
playing
in
that
high
game.
school.
That
I
was a
in high
great
school.
great time.
Brendan was like
Great age
married
to
with
play that
18
game,
children
yeah.
by then. It's fine.
Right. Anyways, I think it's a good move on Rockstar's part to kind of clean up the company culture, and I also think it's a good move to kind of give more choices in protagonists. I did like the fact that they did have a variety last time, but to have a female protagonist in there would be a change, and it could be something interesting for the series. I also would love to have the fragile masculinity of some of these dudes that love GTA be questioned. I think that's
Mhm.
great.
Most of the men I know choose to play women over men
Mhm.
in games. And I mean, we won't talk about why, but to hear the men that are angry that it could be a girl seems ridiculous to me, because either you're angry because you're an idiot,
Mhm.
or you're not thrilled about playing a girl. Like, either way, that makes me question some things.
There's a
Just
lot
do
of
it.
people just really are fragile in what they view as video games. Like they want it to be their way. Anything else is wrong.
I don't like playing men in video games because they're usually massive and I like to be little and stealthy. So there. You got to think about it that way.
That's fair.
Now, is it going to be like just a female character, or are you going to have a choice?
I think
I
they
mean-
were saying it's gonna be like a Bonnie and Clyde situation.
Yeah.
That was the main inspiration. So like you're gonna have at least two, protagonists, a man and a woman, kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. That's
I
what
actually kind of
was
like
pitched.
that. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
And I think it's supposed to be a Miami setting type thing. Kind of,
yeah. We're going back to Vice City,
which
which
is
is
kind of cool.
yeah, but
Right.
also a bit of a shame. I feel like in the last few GTA mainlines we keep rotating. I wish we did London again. I kind of wish we did
I would love to see
something else.
beyond just
Yeah.
just the standard. It's always somewhere in America, New York or London. No, sorry, New York or LA. Wasn't
New York.
San Andreas was LA.
San Andreas was San Francisco, LA, and Vegas as well.
Basically, it was all of the West Coast in one city, in one game.
Exactly. I mean, it was San Andreas was massive, yeah. But then 4 was New York, and then 5 was back to Los Santos, essentially.
When are
Back
they going to come
to
to Canada? Come on.
Yeah.
Everybody
What was
get on their
GTA 3?
Zambonis.
Wasn't that New York? as well?
GTA 3 was New York as well, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
Liberty
4
City,
and
yeah.
3 were
Yeah.
both New York. Okay.
Liberty City, yeah.
I mean, because in between you had Vice City and then San Andreas, the PS2 games, and then 4, and then 5.
Yeah. 4. I liked 4. That was an interesting game. I think
Yeah.
I got to the end and then I'm like, I don't care. I don't need this game to end. I'm done.
I still cannot believe that those games have stories. I did
do.
nothing story.
Oh, they
in those
do.
games ever. Like, I
It
wasn't.
takes a while.
It was the only. All I wanted to do was run around and break stuff, hit stuff. I can't drive in a video game, so I crashed into everything, and I just wanted to cause chaos. And then
Arguably, 4 has the best story out of the bunch, I'd say. It's
4's
the
a really good story.
dissolution of the
Yeah.
American dream, right? Because you play as Nico Bellic, who's this Russian immigrant coming to like live a better life, just to realize that hey, it's kind of not great here either,
Yeah.
you know?
kind of sucks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, GTA 3 was just like a basic like mobster movie or whatever, and then Vice City was basically Scarface.
It was
Yeah.
Scarface,
And then San Andreas did some good stuff too, actually. But I think
San Andreas
4
is
has
fun.
The more interesting story overall with that whole.
San Andreas is
angle.
a deeper story, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever
Definitely
beat that. It had Sam Jackson in that one, right?
Yeah, he was the one cop that's always eggs him on, and like you
Yeah.
give some missions and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a game that I didn't get very far because there was just so much to do.
Oh,
like,
you
so
have
easy
to.
get
that's
sidetracked.
impressive.
I did the platinum a few years ago, and that's definitely my favorite GTA.
Hmm.
Not just
That
because of
being said-
nostalgia, but actually it holds up.
Nostalgia is a big factor in it for sure. Like
Yeah.
but then again, like I was playing it recently when it came out on Switch, the remastered trilogy, and like the gameplay is nostalgic and stuff, but a lot of the story stuff just did not age well.
Yeah.
A lot of gay panic and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
just
GTA
Tasteless
4 or
prison.
San Andreas.
San Andreas, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
GTA
a-
4
prison
had
humor.
Ballad of Gay
had Gay
Tony.
Tony, yeah.
Hmm.
which actually was okay.
That was okay, and Lost in the Dam at least kind of shook up the gameplay as well. So
That was I really did enjoy that. I feel that
Mhm.
I was hoping they'd bring that sort of thing to GTA 5, but instead they did the GTA Online route, which meant you never really got that storyline that made 4 so interesting. Where you did have those like 3 different DLCs? Was it just two?
Lost in the Damned, Ballad of Gay Tony for 4. I think that was it. The 2
Sorry, was
major
that the name of
expansion
the
packs.
DLC? That's amazing.
Ballad of Gay
Ballad
Tony,
of Gay
yeah.
Tony.
All my friends now are getting straight, gay, bi, whatever before their name. That's it. You gotta let me know
Mhm.
so that I can properly label you ahead of time.
It's
Thank
a cis Tony and
you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it was
Cis
just
white
those two,
gay
yeah.
Tony.
Yes. I like it.
this is Bear Tony.
They'd get long though
Ooh.
after a while.
Mm,
I don't want to. There's too many options. I'm just gonna stick with what we got. Names, I guess.
Names
Whatever.
are fine, I guess. Shorthand.
but yeah, no, I think I think the GTA series has gotten a lot more interesting over the years, but I still think it did kind of have that boys culture all the way through it. So I'm glad to see them mixing it up. I don't know how that's going to look in the overall gameplay because the game's apparently a ways off still. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when they announced earlier this year, it probably consisted of like some ideas on a cocktail napkin. Like that seemed
They've been putting
really
all them-
premature to be even saying it out loud, but I guess they caught so much flack last year with the remaster trilogy and
I think
plans
a
for
lot
the
of
next gen. And
I think a lot right now, a lot of their money is going to GTA Online and just kind of fixing up how the corporate culture works. So I don't think they've put much effort into actually making things beyond that.
I mean, there was a thing that they had a Bully remaster / remake in the works. They had a Red Dead Redemption 1 remaster remake in the works, but they canned both of those to just focus on GTA 6 instead. And so that's interesting. But with 5, I've been playing it recently, and online is still massive and it's still really, really good. Matchmaking is still a pain, even on with fast SSDs. But it really is quite a hoot, yeah. Because it's still like the system, running on what we had in 2013, and it's still like the worst part of the entire experience is queuing for people. Or, for example, imagine doing a heist with some people online, and then one person disconnects. It sends everyone back into the lobby. You then have to find someone else again. You have to queue again. You have to enter again. And if again someone again quits, you can't just like quick restart or find someone else. You have to do the entire process all over again.
Matchmaking in any game is my nemesis. It's always been brutal. It's brutal in ESO. It was brutal in WoW. I don't want to do it. I need to have friends, and I don't want to do that either. So like,
right?
life's hard.
Yeah, I think Destiny 2 probably is the best matchmaking, but even then, like you're still stuck waiting in lobbies. It's probably the smoothest one I've seen. But yeah, I'm surprised GTA Online does so well then if it's that hard to get to a match.
Because it's still it's massive and there's still so many people playing, and then they had the RP servers that was a big boost for them, and there's still so much user generated content. Like that's what you don't think about is like all of the courses that people have made over the years. You're running on like 10 years of like this game being active. Obviously you're gonna have so much content, so many people like getting involved through like PS3 generation, PS4, now PS5. So like it's a lot of game in the online, and they added story content for the first time last year with the Dr. Dre stuff, which continues Franklin's story.
It doesn't. That's kind of
right.
Yeah, so it's impressive still to this day, but sadly they also kind of neglected Red Dead Redemption 2's online. So moving forward with GTA 6 being like this like live service game, it will be interesting to see how they balance out their other projects if they have other projects.
I mean, it's Rockstar. They probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope for their sake that they have something Red Dead going on, because that game is live and well. Like,
I mean, it used to be like they had protests in Red Dead Online, yeah, and they weren't very happy with it, and they kind of gave up on it.
They did.
It's kind of why I was surprised to hear this report, because it sounds like they're putting a lot of effort into that, and effort is not what I think of when I think of Rockstar in the past couple of years. The remaster trilogy was just in shambles essentially when it launched. Like they just slapped it through auto process it through an AI to upgrade it, and had all these glaring issues, and then just slap out another next update for GTA 5 and collect another $50 from each person. And yeah, so I hope it pans out. I mean, when they like, speaking of GTA 4 and San Andreas and some of those narrative beats, they've had the potential to do some good story stuff, but hopefully the culture change can bring something interesting there.
We will see.
Yeah.
All right. So recently, the internet's been kind of taken by storm by Stray, the latest game from
Mhm.
B12 Studios and Annapurna Interactive. I am guilty. I've adored that
What?
game. No, it's fantastic. um, yeah, no, and kind of got me thinking about the current state of game design. It's been a topic that people have been talking about since Elden Ring and Horizon came out. The whole debate of the
Mhm.
open worlds and how you approach getting players through it. You had Horizon on one hand that was very handholdy with like the protagonists just giving you the clues away constantly, versus like Elden Ring, which just threw you in a deep end and walked away, um, leaving you to fend for your own devices. So, what I wanted to kind of pitch to you guys is: do you think games are holding our hands too much these days with busy user interfaces and shadow protagonists and everything like that, or are we being coddled or not by game developers these days?
Hmm.
Almost every single time I go into settings, I disable so much of the HUD.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't want it. But then, so for example, when I played Zelda, they had the Pro mode that I remember that disabled a lot of the HUD, but also didn't give you like really really relevant information. So it actually not only made it harder, it made it inconvenient enough so that I had to swap to normal. So the problem is that even though the options exist for you to like kind of play the way you want to play,
Mhm.
sometimes the games don't function. Or like this happens to me in Last of Us Part 2. You play on grounded with like all of the HUD disabled, and it's still kind of not meant to be that experience. You can have
Right.
the option, but it still doesn't really function. It kind of like breaks at the seams.
Mhm.
So I don't know. And then when you think about towers and like and markers and all of that, it's a mess right now. I love Elden Ring for the fact that like kind of says, okay, well, go, have a good time. But
Now,
that's
I realize a
me
lot
too.
of these games that we're talking about are on PC. I know I played World of Warcraft for years, and the first time I ever played that, it was my first like entrance into PC
Mhm.
gaming, and people would be talking about this add-on or that add-on and this overlay, and I'd have no idea what they were talking about. And I was originally playing on like the original UI, and then
Mhm.
I got into all that, and my screen never looked the same again, and no two players screens looked the same ever in those kinds of games. But now I stick more to console gaming than I do PC. So I don't see that issue that you guys are seeing. I'm good. Give me all that information, because when I played
Mhm.
WoW, I put so much more on my screen. Like everything was there. So I like that. I like having all my information there. Now, I guess it's different if it's like the game giving you specific instructions. Again, those are add-ons you can put in WoW. It'll tell
Mhm.
you when the boss is in this mode, that mode, or the other mode, when you need to hit this button, when your cooldowns come up, all that kind of stuff. Now that's hand holding. That's basically telling you, it's like a little light up telling you when to press each button, right?
Hmm.
So I come from like a different section of that.
Mhm.
Right now I'm playing simpler games like Little Witch in the Woods on Series X on Game Pass, and like it doesn't have a map. You have to like
Mhm.
run and find a little pole, and that'll open up a small section of the map, and then you have to go find another one, and that will open up a different small section of the map. So you can't just see everything. You
Right.
can't see exactly where you are or where you're going at any given time. You kind of have to remember. That's making me crazy. So maybe I need hand holding. I'm not sure.
I think they can still handhold you in different ways. Like for me, one of the core examples of this is Mirror's Edge, where like they color code it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Obviously, like you have red is where you want to go, and this world is flat in terms of colors, and you have whites. Red is this is where you want to be. So like there's different ways. So I think about like Ghost of Tsushima, where you have the wind kind of be diegetic and kind of
Mm.
guide you. So there's still ways they can do that without like cluttering the HUD.
Mhm.
When I think about an Ubisoft game nowadays, I feel like all of the information is on the screen all the time, so that I don't actually look at the game. I'm looking at the map more than I actually look around me. So
So in that
I'm
case, how
tracking
do you guys
stuff. Yeah.
feel about your quest markers then? Is that hand holding then, or is that just a helpful little situation?
It's helpful, but like in the case of like Ubisoft again, like it's one of many things. It's like it'd be the one thing I would keep if I could. Whereas like
Mhm.
all the other stuff and like the protagonist constantly like speaking and like narrating
Mhm.
to you, like, hey, go over here, dummy. Like is that kind of stuff that I could do away with. Quest markers are one
Because
thing, but yeah.
that's even something that's something in Little Witch in the Woods. When you have all your quests, it doesn't actually tell you where any of them are. And sometimes you'll complete one part and then the next part doesn't, like, you don't see where you came from. So I'm like, I actually have no idea who I'm supposed to talk to now because that last person told me and I don't know who that last person was. But I've played so many games where the quest markers were all I'd pay attention to. If somebody says something to me, I don't process it. I have to read it. And if I don't go read my quests, I just follow the quest markers. I go and I do whatever it says at those markers. And then I go to where those markers tell me next. And I don't even realize what's going on half the time. Like, all of these are complete. Don't know what I did. That's cool. But even Fortnite is getting them. When you have to, it never used to be the case when you'd have to go to a certain section of the map and collect things. There wouldn't be little markers there. You just have to find them on the map. And then you'd go to Google and find them there and whatever. But now they actually put the little marker directly on the map when you get to the correct area. And though helpful, and again, I'm the one that would Google it anyway. I kind of feel like we're getting lazy.
Yeah, Fortnite's kind of a weird case too, because like the map's so big and you got so much else going on versus like 99 other actual human beings.
Yeah, people shooting you in the face.
I appreciated that one, right? Especially because I like to go on every couple of weeks and like catch up on some of like the collection things, like the the find 33 tokens each area quests.
Yep.
So having that pop up when you're close, I appreciate that in that case. But what got me thinking about it was like in Stray, there's almost nothing. There's almost no indication of where you're supposed to go, and somehow like I never got lost really, except for
you're
like
supposed to
trying
be
to
a curious
like, navigate
kitty.
my way around. That's true, and they play into that very well. But yeah, like they're the whole thing though. Like I might have gotten lost because there's no map or anything like that. Because how's a cat gonna check a map or understand a map for that matter? But no, the whole thing was just done in
Because
this
that's
really
what we're talking about.
fashion.
Realism while you're playing
Realism.
a cat in a video. Cats can't read maps.
It's very realistic. The cat falls down a long gap, starts
Lands on his
limping,
feet.
licks his back leg, and then he's fine. That is entirely realistic. Have you seen
That
cats?
is entirely realistic. This is deep, guys.
But yeah, like it managed to like not lose you in the woods too much. Like you might meander around for a little while, but like you never had to like smack you over the head with clues. It never just dropped you in the deep end like Elden Ring might, and like just leave you to get slaughtered. It managed to like guide you through without guiding you, right?
I want someone to hold
I
my
mean,
hand.
I think there's a good balance, and I think this kind of goes into the debate of accessibility, figuring that balance that allows people to get the immersion they're looking for, but also get the needed hand holding when needed, and have it a thing you can just turn on and off based on your needs. I think that's kind of where a lot of people want the gaming industry to go. To have it always go the Elden Ring route where it's obtuse as hell is probably not the ideal, but having it so you can go about a game how you see fit. So if you want to find out the storyline, you can. If you want to experience a game in a more fluid way, you can do that as well. And I think that balance is where a lot of games are trying to head. I think the single player story driven experience where it's like you go here, then you go here, then you go here, and it's just like a corridor pushing you forward is kind of going away a little bit. And I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but I feel it gives more chance for people that do want to experience games the way they want to play them.
So Brendan, that being said, you play games like Diablo style more often than not.
Yeah.
What would you say they do in this?
I'd say a mix of both. Like Diablo's always been kind of a game where you're supposed to once you know the map, it's just go here, go there. Once you're in the different locations that do procedurally generate its exploration, but most of it is just follow the map to your marker, go to the marker, do the thing. The only real exploration is in those dungeons where they do procedurally generate and let you do it how you want to do it. I don't know if the new one's going that way because it seems like it's a much more vertical, much more open experience, but they really haven't said how it's going to work. So we'll see.
That's true. I will say, being a parent, because we love when I get into this chat, is that I end up at games like very few and far between. Like I'll pick up a game and have not played it in a month, 2 months, 3. I don't remember the last time I played WoW. If I jumped in right now, I would have to completely relearn how to play. So a lot of the times, the games that do give you the quest markers and they do give you the, hey, you want to go this way, and they give you the, hey, you just talked to this person, like I want the quest log that tells me what I finished,
Right.
Mhm.
because then I can be like, where was I? What was I doing? Rather than starting over every single time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
I would love a recap function if you haven't like played the game in like a year, for like the game to be like, oh, do you want a refresher? I'm like, yes, please,
Yeah.
instead of
Do
like
you
being
want
like,
us to
oh my
remind
god,
you? Quick controls. Here's what you did. Here's where you're going.
Yeah.
Go. Like
Right.
they need that. They need that mode in every game.
Yeah, I actually just booted up Spider-Man Remastered for the first time in like a month.
Mhm.
And one of the first things that happened, I was just talking about the protagonist being too chatty, but Spider-Man says, "Oh, I need to go and do this." But like in that case, that's helpful. First of all, 'cause it's been a month and I don't know exactly where I was in the quest line, but also like
Mhm.
knowing Spider-Man, he's constantly talking to himself all the time, anyways,
Mhm.
right? He's always got the inner monologue in the comics, or he's talking out loud to himself. So in that case, it felt natural in that game to me in a way.
Maybe he
And I think
just
it
has
also
like
helps.
ADHD. He's just trying to remind himself where he needs to be at all times. Like, just
And-
this is what I gotta do. I gotta do this. Make sure
Right.
I do this. Don't stop doing this. That's
Yeah.
pretty much how
the
my life
context in the
runs.
comics is that he speaks all the time. He jokes and quips, so that he's not nervous. That's
Mm.
the
I believe
context
that.
apparently. Yeah.
Also
That's
true.
true.
So there you go. I get it now. I get Spider-Man a little bit more than I did the day before.
There you go.
I rhymed.
Yeah,
I
and
also want to.
and- oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I want to mention, give a shout out to Sea of Thieves. I like how they do it because
Oh,
it's
really?
very
I've not played
manual.
that game since the first, like the first year it was out, so I haven't really seen it since.
Yeah, it's evolved in different ways, in interesting ways. But I like the fact that it's manual still. Like if you remember this from year one of it as well. Like
Yeah.
you have a map, you have a general area, but you're still using the geography of the place, of the
Mhm.
specific island you're on, to kind of figure out where you want to go, where the X is. You have to count your steps. You have to kind of look around. You have to like judge by like how high this like hill is, or like
Mhm.
this part of the island is. So, like you still kind of looking around. So looking at the map, but also looking around is nice. It is a
You know-
way more manual game, but also I find it more rewarding when you find the
Cool.
treasure.
A weird example of this that I have to be kind of top secret with, a game I'm playing right now, they've got all sorts of like markers that mean stuff. So X is happening here, this is happening there. You need to check on this. But it doesn't actually tell you what any of them mean. So like for the most part, you can look at it and be like, I kind of know what that is. But sometimes you look at it and you go, I know what that is. And you do the thing that you think it is, and that is not the thing. And then
Really?
you just guess for like an hour trying to figure out what the thing is. I could use a legend in that case,
Mhm.
or even there's a chance that they may have said it somewhere right at the beginning, but they don't ever say it again. So just like every once in a while, hey, by the way, that marker means this. You should check that out. Would be nice. I need my handheld, guys. I need my handheld. I didn't think I did at the beginning of this conversation. Now I do.
We learned something
Damn
today.
it. Yes, we learned that I need help.
That is fair.
That was a great point about accessibility too, right? Like that's such a key focus in gaming right now, and it's really enabling a lot of people to play games that wouldn't normally be able to. So, I mean, for all this talk about hand holding and stuff, I am all for adding things into the game if that's to make things more accessible for people. Like,
Mhm.
go ahead. Having that in the options is. Someone was justifying having the like Last of Us remastered because they're adding all these things into it. And instead, like they said, if that's what it takes to get someone to like be able to play this game, it's totally worth playing full price for it. Like and
Oh,
going
without
through the whole
question, yeah.
process, and really redefined my whole perspective on it. So
What I'm all for is the options. Like,
yeah,
don't make me play the way everyone. I don't want to play the way that the pros are playing, but I also don't want to play the way my child is playing. I give me options. I love a difficulty setting. I love that so much. And as far as accessibility goes, absolutely. Everybody needs different things for different reasons. Like I said, I can't process when you just shoot sound at me. I need to see it. Whether it's seeing it like in a picture or seeing it in words. I need a visual or it's gone.
It would be interesting if alongside difficulty you can also choose your immersion level, right? Like you can also choose like, oh, how much time do I have to spend on this? Like, do I want to journal my every step? Do I want to journal my quest log? Do I want to have access to it? There's so many games I remember That like even Elden Ring, I was like, oh, I was having notes. I was keeping notes of like what I did, where I was, the quest lines. I'm like, oh, this is I don't do this for many games because in so many other games I have this already. But it did
Right.
add
For Stardew Valley.
yeah, it did add an extra element to my playthrough where I was like, oh, I have notes of like before they
Right.
had the markers for like shops as well. I had markers everywhere that I put myself. Like I was paying attention. So immersion it would be interesting to decide and have a say
Right.
in.
And that teaches you completely different things the way you play a game too, right? Like some people might get frustrated with that, and you found a workaround. You kept notes. You did this, that, and the other thing. So
Mhm.
it's neat to see how different people grow with different things. Also, I have a lot of notebooks about potions in my life. We play very different games. Can you tell?
Well,
That's the
I
beauty
think
of
it's also like like you said, you know you have children, Dana, and like how much do you want to devote? How much time do you have to put into a game? Because if you play a game that like necessitates you to like write notes, you'd be like, oh well, I don't want to do this. Like I want something that's easy,
It
something that's
depends. If it's
comfortable.
chill notes, like
Okay, yeah.
you have to keep in mind, like I'm happy sitting down and writing my little potions, and like I wrote a little half guide for Alchemic Cutie when they came out. But keep
Okay.
in mind, like I came from like I used to hardcore raid. I would raid 4 nights a week for 4 hours a night, and my husband at the time would try to talk to me, and I'd yell, "Shut up, I'm healing." Like that was we're not married anymore, so maybe that's why. But like I used to play these games a lot, and now I'm kind
Right.
of my kids are getting a little bit older, so I'm starting to be able to dive back into it. But a lot of what I do now is child appropriate, or like at 10 o'clock at night once everybody's asleep, and I'm like, my brain is so tired. So it varies. But I did try Elden Ring, and I got my ass handed to me. So that was nothing to do with my kids. I just was really bad at it. We'll blame them though.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, it's definitely something that's interesting to keep track of in the industry as the accessibility talks go on, and as we're seeing the shifts and what games could do in the next gen. So yeah, that was a good chat, guys.
It was.
So Toronto International Film Festival is coming soon, and Dana and Brendan, you guys are gonna be checking some stuff out, right?
What? Really? No, Brendan, you're not going to jump in on that? What, did he leave? Did he leave like I said he was going to?
The prophecy has come true.
He knew it.
No.
Boy.
I think there's a really this year's film festival is looking really impressive. There's a lot coming this year that feels like it's kind of bringing the festival back. It's been a long time. It's been the pandemic time. Well, TIFF was just kind of struggling along. 1 year was all digital. 1 year was all kind of a mix of both digital and in person. And it's just kind of great to see films coming back to the festival. Just judging by how many new movies are here, it's bringing massive stars to Toronto again. That, as I said, it's been a while since we've seen that. So, like even just looking at a quick look at the festival rundown, there's some really big movies coming this year.
Oh, it was not a quick look for me. I dove
No.
into that. There is a long list. So right now, Brendan and I are doing Fantasia Festival, which is a lot of very strange movies, and not strange in a bad way. Just like some of them are really out there. I believe I've said some little like quips here and there that just describe slight things that happen, like butt aliens.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Fantasia is very out there, and I did a couple of movies for TIFF last year with Brendan. He was showing me the ropes, and like I did The Eyes of Tammy Faye and The Starling, and those were very like chill movies but big celebrities in them. And we're looking at this list this year, and I'm like, holy crap, because I didn't really sort through the entire list last year. And I was thinking I'd come up with like 5 movies that I wanted to see, and I just have to move to Toronto for like a week and a half, I think. There's some really, really cool stuff. There's one called The Menu. It's got is it Ralph Fiennes?
Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. Sorry, why did I write Ralph? And Nicholas.
That's how you say it. That's how it's spelled.
What? Okay. Well, that's Great. I'm super happy for him. Anyway, we were watching that, and I thought it was a movie about a chef, and we sat here and watched the trailer, and I was like, Brendan, you need to come here and see this, because there's a point in the trailer where it's just like, that's not what this movie was about a second ago, and that looks really cool. But there's lots of stuff, like there's a movie called Bros with Billy Eichner that I thought would look ridiculous, but actually looks really funny and has a lot of like LGBTQ people in it, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. The Woman King, Viola Davis, that's coming. That's going to be very powerful, I see, and lots of movies that are going to make me cry. So that's going to be good. You guys can all watch me just sob for the next couple weeks. The thing that's important about TIFF this year, they're doing something different. I'm going to read a little bit just so I don't screw up what it is. It's called the Media Inclusion Initiative. It says on their site, inclusion in film doesn't end on the set. TIFF believes that it's equally important to ensure that the press who report on, critique, and publicize films represent a diversity of perspectives. Reading is hard. That's why we designed the Media Inclusion Initiative, which provides financial support to equity-seeking members of the accredited press who wish to attend TIFF in a professional capacity. So what they did was selected up to 100 participants who will be financially compensated for their time. They will also be promoted a little differently than standard press at TIFF. They'll have different options. They'll have mentorship opportunities. And this is for anybody that identifies as Black, Indigenous, and or a person of color, and or identify as LGBTQ+, and or identify as a woman, trans, non-binary, and or two-spirit, and or has a disability. So that is a long list, and they chose up to 100 people. I'm not sure if that means 100, under 100, but up to. And I just think it's a really different way to do things, and neat.
Yeah, get on them for that. Yeah, that's comprehensive.
Yeah, it's different, and it's nice to see that it's not all cis white men covering every movie on the planet. No offense, fellas, you're all great, but I'm gonna look
There's
at
a lot of
something a
us.
lot differently than any of you might. Just
There are
like
a lot of
Chris,
us.
as a parent, you might look at something different than Brendan might, you know? So
Absolutely.
I think it's neat, and I'm looking forward to it.
There's a Nick Cage movie in there too, right?
Yeah,
There
a
is
cowboy
a
Nick
Nick
Cage
Cage
movie.
Western, and that is on our list. Also, the
in.
greatest beer run ever, which, by the way, is a true story, with Zac Efron and Russell Crowe.
That's what the Vietnam War or something, right?
That one, I don't know. I think it has something to do with it. Yes, I believe I read that earlier.
Okay.
I saw the title earlier and I'm like, that's Zac Efron. You still doing this kind of stuff? And then I heard, no, it's a Vietnam War dramedy. Oh, okay. There's a story behind that title. Then I'm not kidding.
Seems fine. I know something that I saw a lot of people talking on like TikTok and Twitter about. My Policeman, it's called. It's got Harry Styles in it, but it's going to be the world premiere at TIFF. So like a bunch of people on the interwebs were like, that means Harry Styles is going to be in Toronto. So if you live in Toronto, be prepared to be swarmed by fans, including possibly me.
Fair.
It's fine.
The two
Showing your
films
whole
that
hand
seem interesting to me are All Quiet on the Western Front after the book. Seems like a fun one. And then Broker by Koreeda, who is a famous Japanese director.
Oh, cool.
These ones seem interesting, just at first glance.
Yeah, there's at first glance I had a list, and then I like looked in. I'm like, oh my, like this list is like Sony has a couple of movies coming. Elevation Pictures has a few movies on the list, and there's lots going on, man. Lots of big casts too. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. So Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Catherine Hahn.
That's
That
cool.
didn't sound like a TIFF thing, but all right, let's go.
Yeah, that's gonna be there, really?
Yeah,
I didn't think that was done yet.
Well, it doesn't have a trailer or even a photo. It has a promo that is just word art of people's names. But sure, we've got till September 8th. It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Ryan Johnson's locked away for the next month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got like some Kate Beckinsale, Woody Harrelson, Brendan Fraser is doing a pretty crazy
making a return,
movie.
yeah.
And it's supposed to be like his career movie. So Hugh Jackman might be in Toronto, guys. I'm just saying.
Colin Farrell,
yeah.
So we've thrown a lot of names out here, Dana. And you recently had a run-in with one celebrity, Keanu Reeves. Would
that
seeing
did
any of
happen.
these any of these TIFF attendees in person top that moment, or is that pretty much
Top.
untouchable?
Okay, so you guys might not think so. There's a movie called Alice Darling coming out, and it's a gala event at TIFF, and it's got Anna Kendrick in it. I love Anna Kendrick, like adore her. Like I want to just live in her pocket. I don't know
So
what it is.
it's Harry
That might
Styles,
do
it's
it.
Keanu Reeves, and then it's Anna
Mm.
Kendrick. Is that
I
the
just want
hierarchy?
Harry Styles to sing to me, and I feel like that is less likely. So
Mhm.
we'll move on to the other thing.
Would you
Um,
have Anna Kendrick, Pitch Perfect, sing to your Harry Styles?
Ooh, choices. It depends. What
You
are we
know?
singing? The cup song, Anna Kendrick. I'm done. She can sing me the cup song.
Fair.
I can't do the cup thing, but I can clap, so we're good. But yeah,
Done deal.
there's definitely some cool looking movies and a wide variety. Here, what's her name? Lena Dunham is directing like a. I'm gonna screw up the period, but I want to say like a medieval type movie
That's super
featuring
weird.
Bella Ramsey from Game of Thrones.
Sure.
Oh,
So that's just something to see in itself. I just want to know what's
Also,
happening.
Ellie in The Last of Us.
yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
for
that's
that coming
true.
adaptation. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Like,
Uh,
you should see the descriptions I have for these movies. One of them says slutty. One of them says salacious.
Mhm.
Their words.
Yeah, I wanted
Okay.
to know what's going on. Remember, well, because I'm trying to remember what each movie is without having to go Google it, right? So why did I
That's
want to see
effective.
that again? Because
That's
it looks
effective.
slutty. I will leave that out of my review, not the Bella Ramsey one, just so we're clear there. That wasn't what I meant.
Everyone has a system.
Is there anything you're looking forward to, Brendan, outside of the Western Nicolas Cage movie that I don't want to talk about?
Honestly, I don't know. I looked up the list. There's a like the menu one that you mentioned earlier. I think looks really cool. But beyond that, I really haven't had time to really dive into the trailers. I really only realized that the full list of movies was available about an hour before the podcast. So
That is true. That is a true story. That did
So,
happen.
having covered a bunch of these events in the past, do you like going in blind to them, or like?
no,
do
I
you
like because you have to plan. You have to really figure out what you're going to do with it. We just got accredited today, and I didn't even realize the press list was the full film list was out until today. So I'm just like, oh, okay, there's going to be a lot of movies, and the list is really long. Usually,
Well,
I spend
it's-
about a few days just kind of going over like what's the schedule looking like, what screenings are going on when, and then figuring out how to fit them all in like a Jenga thing, Tetris.
I think I'm going to
Tetris.
get my heart
Interesting.
broken because I haven't done this before. So I just picked like all the movies that I really, really think look
Mhm.
cool. And then between like having to actually be in Toronto,
Yeah.
oh, hit my mic. Great. Between having to be in Toronto and like things happening at the same time, I feel I'm going to see like 2 of the movies I want and then just a bunch of random movies. I think that's going to happen. But
You're gonna have to
here.
kill your babies, kill your darlings.
that's it. Just get rid of them.
Mm.
Just get rid of them. Put them in the closet. No, that's what grandma's for. Not the
Um,
killing part, just the like she's the closet, I guess.
syntax. Yeah.
this took a
Syntax.
turn.
Syntax
took
is
a turn.
important.
Let's eat grammar.
That's fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, I'm excited, and I'm a little different than Brendan. He has not done the deep dive. I saw it and immediately dropped everything I was doing and did the deep dive because I have no patience. Can't
And there's
wait.
200 things to sort through. So
Yeah.
And I
Whatever
need to
200.
sort through them in 12 different ways. There's a want list, a don't care list, a maybe list, a Brendan list, a Dana list. Like there's options.
There's a
I'm
lot going
very,
on.
very organized people. Very organized. Now let me drink this monster and I'll do it again. That was a commercial. Go ahead.
there we go. Well,
Moving on.
it's got about 2 months to go on that one. Anyways, the
Jeez.
TIFF's going on in the last half of September, is it?
September 8th to 18th, I think
Yeah.
it said.
Just after Labor Day, so you got some time.
Yeah.
And you look forward to coverage of that on cgmagonline.com.
Exactly.
In more up-to-date news, Edward, you've been playing Multiversus recently, along with a boatload more people than I thought would be playing it.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
How's the beta experience going so far?
So the game entered open beta, I think, on Tuesday, and ever since it has more than 100. It has had more than 100,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is
That's a
the
lot.
all-time record for a fighting game. More than
Yeah.
Fighter Z, more than anything else. Obviously, Smash we don't know because it's Nintendo.
Mhm.
but more than Mortal Kombat, more than Street Fighter, more than anything you can imagine.
Right.
It helps obviously that it's free to play. It helps that it's open beta. Although you can still kind of buy the game, but it's like it retails for like $80 American. That's the premium collection that gets you
Okay.
the battle pass and some like other goodies. But most people, I imagine, are playing it for free and not spending any money like I am.
Right.
In terms of monetization, it's pretty like clear battle pass. You have the free to play progression. Essentially, you get cosmetics and emotes and skins and whatever. And then if you buy the battle pass, you get some extras for every level.
Cool.
Kind of very Fortnite-y, very like classic battle pass.
Mhm.
Everyone's doing that kind of stuff these days.
Yeah. I think if you play anything online, you're familiar with the model. Everyone's doing it. In terms of the game, so obviously a Smash clone, right? But it does do some interesting things in terms of mechanics. So, first of all, I want to speak about like how combat feels like. So you have cooldowns, you have special abilities per character, and also characters have classes, which I think is really interesting. Smash doesn't really have synergy in the same way. That don't really have delineation of classes. So, for example, in Multiversus, Shaggy is a brawler, which means that he gets up close and is usually the one person in your team that deals a lot of damage. Wonder Woman, on the other hand, would be a tank. So in order to have maximum synergy, we'll have a tank and a brawler, or an assassin and a tank, or a support character and a brawler, whatever, maximizing synergies in any case. So that is already interesting because it means that you play the game differently. And the recommended game mode in Multiversus is 2v2 anyway. So that is kind of a shift from competitive Smash, which is definitely like Final Destination, no items, no platforms, 1v1 me, whatever, wave dash. So it's interesting. And then on the actual game side of things, you have something called attack decays. So for example, if you spam a lot of the same attacks, they will lose potency after a while. So like let's say you mash a light punch 5 times in a row, your fifth punch wouldn't be as strong as the first punch. So it kind of like encourages you, or soft encourages you, to kind of diversify your play. Some abilities that you have cooldowns, which is again is a big difference from what Smash does. And it is interesting in the sense that like it has depth, it has strategy. You can do a lot of things. I'm maining Wonder Woman. And so for me, when I play duos, when I play in teams, I know that my role is to protect my brawler, protect my assassin role. And then I use the ability called Lasso of Truth, for example, to kind of get in front and use my big shield to kind of defend, which is something I'm not really doing in Smash. In Smash, you have all the roles at the exact same time. This feels a bit more focused. And I think it's a really good angle. And it's far more competent than a lot of the Smash clones that we've played. Certainly better than like All Stars, PlayStation All Stars, and certainly better than the Nickelodeon brawler that came out a few months ago. Yeah.
So here's my question. I don't play a lot of those kinds of games. When I do, like I played Super Smash Brothers in high school backstage on stage crew. And it was just always pick the cute character or pick a random one, and it was fine. But you just used the words "I main," which is usually a word used for much bigger, seemingly more complicated, important games. So is that something that will actually be valued in this game, like picking something and mastering it? Or is it still I want to pick something fun for this round and something different the next, and you just really, really like Wonder Woman?
So the reason you want the main characters is because of perks. Because in terms of like account progression, you can unlock skins and ring outs and taunts and emotes and stuff like that. But if you play as a one particular character, you unlock perks. Perks are like, oh well, you get a cooldown for this ability, or like you get to customize your playstyle. So you want to level up the character you main in order to gain perks and abilities that you can then equip and then kind of customize your playstyle, right? So for example, I'm level 1 with Taz because I haven't played Taz, but with Wonder Woman, I'm level 12. I would much rather, if I play competitively, much rather play my primary character, or the character I've invested the more time in, because it's already like custom fit to my preferred playstyle, or like what I expect this
Now,
like
how
matchup
do
to be like.
matchup works if you English
Yeah.
matchups work if you have something that's a level 1 and something that's a level 12?
I mean, and then you don't
Does it
have any
matter?
perks. You're at a clear disadvantage. If you're playing against someone who is a level 10, you
So
are at a
it will
disadvantage.
still, if you're a level 1, group you up with a level 10.
Yeah, but like, perks are not a big deal. It's kind of like just the edge. You can still
Quality of
win.
life rather
Yeah,
than
you can still win if you're good, if you have the skill. It's not like it's a really big deal. It won't boost like your attack damage by 50%. It's just like
Okay.
little ways in which you can customize your character. Obviously, Wonder Woman will have the same move set, but the way you play her, the way you play any other character will be different
Okay.
in terms of
Right.
like how you adjust your perks.
Do you see like guides coming out in the future for this character is the best if you have this, this, and
100%, yeah.
this? Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
already like for every fighting game, there's already a tier list. There's already like like classes differentiated. There's like who's the best tank, who's the best this, what is the best matchup, who is better against who,
Yes,
which
that
is
always
what
bums
you
me
want to have.
out. See, that bums me out for games like that because I want to play the character I like. I got that way in WoW for a while. I really
Mhm.
liked my Beast Mastery Hunter, but then for a while, I can't even remember what the other one is. The other kind of hunter was better, and I was like, but I don't want to play that kind, and then I had
Right.
to.
This
So that kind of
this is the
bums me
thing,
out.
too, right? Because like Smash always had that kind of competitive level of play if you went looking for it.
If you wanted it,
Oh.
yeah.
But
What
like
is-
yeah,
All I
like,
did was
well,
hit buttons.
maybe not on N64, but like by the time I hit GameCube with Melee, that scene
Okay.
blossomed and that was there. But like you said, like you just pick it up and pick up, the cute character and run off with it. Like Edward, do you think there's going to be that kind of potential for that kind of pick up and play casual type of play with this game, or like is there going to be like a game mode that supports that?
Sort of less so, simply because there's no items. I think having items in Smash really opens it up to it being a party game. You have two games in Smash. You have the fighting game, and then you have the party game. Nintendo's adamant that Smash is a party game, which is the reason it sells the way it does. Multiversus to me is definitely like a fighting game. The primary game mode is 2v2,
I
encourages
didn't even
1v1s.
think about it the way that you
Yeah.
put that, a party game versus a
And
fighting game.
yeah, and then there's a separate mode which is kind of like free for all. This is like the wacky zany mode where like you play for fun, but it's kind of like the third option. The main option that they feature is a 2v2. So they definitely want character synergies. They definitely want you to like buddy up with a friend and then kind of take on the world. It's not a party game, and it kind of doesn't want to be that.
Interesting. Okay.
See, and that's
Yeah.
like having not played it or really done much of anything with it. I just kind of assumed that it was just another Smash game, and that was the end of it. So
It is and it isn't. It's
Yeah.
the ways in which it isn't a Smash games are more interesting than other Smash clones before it. So like PlayStation All Stars was was a Smash clone because it has items, it had everything they wanted, but like the roster let it down. With Multiversus, the roster is interesting because you wouldn't think Warner Brothers had that many like iconic characters, but they've acquired so many. So like just like to give you a rundown, you have Harley Quinn, Jake the Dog, Shaggy, Steven Universe, Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, Arya
Much
Stark.
wider. I thought you were
LeBron
saying Ariana
James.
Grande.
I wish.
What?
That's in Fortnite. That's in
I want
Fortnite.
that ponytail.
Yeah. LeBron James from
Yeah.
Space Jam, and then they're
Yeah.
adding Rick and Morty and stuff. So like and it's interesting the ways they use their characters. Tom and Jerry are mages for some reason, which I think is hilarious.
Why not?
And also
They're like
which-
talking animals. They've got to be some sort of witchcraft, right?
in the same way, Bugs Bunny is a mage, and Bugs Bunny has like a Hugh Hefner inspired like alternate skin, which is ridiculous, but also so in line with the character. They really are having fun. But obviously, it's early days. Most characters only have like one extra skin. The roster is like maybe 18 or 19 at the moment. You have to unlock them by playing. You can invest money, but I don't, and I don't think you
So
have
what does the
to.
investing money change though? Like, do you think that will
Right.
is that going to give people more perks? Is that going to put people ahead? Or are you investing money to like get other skins?
You buy skins and you buy characters. So like in League of Legends, for example, where you actually can acquire a champion, or in this case, a character. If, for example, there's a free character rotation every week with like 4 or 5 free characters that you can pick up and play, but then you have to play the game a bit to then earn golds, then purchase them to unlock them
Right.
for good.
Okay.
But if you want to speed out that process, you can, just buy gems and multiverses and then spend and buy the entire roster.
But it's not
which-
going to give you like an advantage over other people.
It sort of won't, but then again, you have more options.
You
know,
can get
it's-
to
it's-
those best tanks, those best whatever.
Right,
first,
yeah,
right?
and you can it makes it easy for you to decide what you want to do. Although, to be fair, something that I do appreciate, they have a really robust tutorial mode where you can select every single character in the game, regardless of not if you actually have them
Try and
unlocked.
figure out which ones you
Which-
like, which ones
So you
don't,
can
which is kinda
actually
cool.
figure out what you want before you buy, which I do
That's really
appreciate,
cool.
and you can play with all the characters at
Okay.
any given moment. So that is
So-
nice. That's a good touch.
So we said it's like the biggest amount of people to be on one of these games at one time, blah
Mhm.
blah blah, doing really well. If you had to pick like one reason for that, what would it be? Having played it,
Well, I'll give you two. First of all, it's free to play,
it's cheating.
and people
I'm
and people are bored. Like every single massive new game that will come out, people will jump on it. And second of all, it's cross-play and cross-platform. It's on PC, it's on Switch, it's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox.
Even the
and-
beta.
Yes, and everyone
Oh.
plays together. You can disable crossplay,
Yeah.
but in my experience, I just played with crossplay on, and it was fine.
A lot of the
and I-
time, like betas are only on PC, so I wouldn't even
Yeah.
have thought that. Hey,
But
nice.
for example, as opposed to Smash, where you have to already be invested and have a Switch, have Nintendo Switch
Mhm.
Online. With Multiversus, if you have a Steam account, just download Multiversus. If you have a PS5 already, just download it and it's there. If you have an Xbox, just download it and it's there. And you can play with
That's pretty
friends
cool.
from PC, from Xbox, from PlayStation. You don't
That's
have
really
to
cool.
like have an investment on one platform in
See,
particular.
I would have said like the array of different characters that you can be, but now that you mentioned
Yeah.
that, like, of course, there's more people. There's more ways to do it. If you
Right,
cut
that
something
helps,
down to
yeah.
just one system, then okay. Like Brendan
And-
has 2 Switches, but you wouldn't see him ever playing on one. You know, rare.
This is accurate.
Yeah, and
Called
it's again, it's free. And it will be big for like this week. Let's see how it is next week. Let's see what the long term plan for it is.
Let's see how it is once it like
yeah.
is out, right? Maybe it's just the
Yeah.
flavor of the week. It's
mean, like,
summer. The kids are home.
The characters are a big draw too, though. I think
Mhm.
I know
Mhm.
when it was announced, there was a lot of hype about it because Shaggy from Scooby Doo was in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was a big meme thing at the time. The whole Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
What was it?
meme
I
that-
need to go find what Philip said in his news story about it. It's like the only game where you can say that like Shaggy is fighting Arya Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
Yeah.
true.
It's I'm surprised by how well Arya works. Like the art in terms of the art style, I think they really nailed it of like making
Cool.
it like animated but also like cool looking still. And I'm looking at the leaked characters because of course it was data mined. Do we want to speak about leaks? Is that a thing that we want to do?
I feel well, at this point, yes. We've now teased it, so we have to.
with
Yeah.
the big grain of salt, these might not all actually.
This
be
might not
real
actually be
from the
real,
past.
but so just to whet your appetite, Gandalf, Legolas,
As you
Fred Flintstone, Mad Max from Mad Max,
would be really good.
Raven from Teen Titans, King Kong, Neo, Samurai
I want
Jack.
to see Arya Stark fight King Kong just because, like,
Why not? And I think the most insane one on this list, Ted Lasso.
I was gonna say,
That's
yeah,
real
that
weird.
one. That's just so against the character. Just, yeah.
But I
he
want it.
wouldn't do that in real life.
Wouldn't do it.
That fictional character would not play in this battle universe in real life.
I want to
Like,
just stamp a big belief on the character and like, just
Yeah.
destroy them.
It's like what's he gonna do? Fight by not fighting and just like coaching people? Like what's?
I can see you like having a whistle and summoning like other like the footballers themselves, like
like
footballers
Pokemon
live.
trainer in
Exactly.
Smash.
Yeah.
Here comes Roy Kent.
And
Oh my
Jamie Todd.
gosh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The cast
I
is what
mean-
is what kills this game for me. Like I just can't wrap my head around this. Like it's every other like Smash clone has at least some consistency of characters.
Mhm.
Smash itself has an absolutely insane roster at this point, but there's a whole gaming history angle tying it in, things that appeared
Yeah.
on Nintendo systems. it has that unity, at least, even in its disparity. But this is just like, here's all the things we own, and none of them go together, and we're just gonna smash them
But
together.
when you think about that, the way that you're looking at it is, well, Nintendo stuff goes together. Well, so does Warner Brothers stuff.
I mean,
Why
I'm gonna
does
I'm
like
gonna throw it out there. A lot of Nintendo games don't like Marth does not really it's not even in a similar universe to Mario.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
Kirby
that's
doesn't seem like
true.
a similar thing. It's more the fact of
it's just they're not, I'm gonna say realistic, because like Arya Stark is a
Yeah.
person, and LeBron James also
Yeah.
a very real person.
Yeah.
So it seems like they don't go together and they shouldn't be in that universe. But if you look at Nintendo as a realistic universe in itself,
Yeah.
all of its characters are from very different planets, so to speak. So
It's
none of
true,
them really
yeah.
go together either. We're
I
just
think-
nerds and we accept it.
I
This-
think
this is
because of
just- yeah.
because of Fortnite, who cares anymore? You can have Spider-Man play chess against Darth Vader. Who cares anymore? Like we've reached such a point where like
you're definitely right. The answer
See,
is
Not-
what my
nothing
friend does
matters,
with
you know?
Fortnite, when we all get into our lobbies, he gives us rules. He's like, "Well, today we're all going to be a Marvel character. Today we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
going to be a DC character. Today we're all going to be spooky. Today we're all going to be season 2." So like I see that coming my way. Today we are all going to be God.
But,
Something
like, you know,
weird.
you can have Ariana Grande, you know, fight Darth Vader, fight Carnage, and it's whatever. Like we've reached such a point where I'm like,
Hey.
nothing faces me anymore.
Is Ariana or no, see now you got me screwed up. Is Arya Stark like decent to use though? Because you're talking about like
Yeah,
best this,
yeah,
best that.
she's an assassin. It's cool. Yeah,
oh cool.
Oh,
That is
that's
neat.
my jam. That's
I'm
my
down.
jam, guys. That's
Cool.
She could
she's
assassinate
my main.
Shaggy.
You heard me. She's my main.
again, the weirdest thing to me is that Tom and Jerry are mages and hard to play.
But
Mm.
seriously, if you think about it, they talk, right? Don't they? No, don't they talk?
In one film, there's one film with the ring I remember watching when I was like extremely young, where like Tom speaks for some reason.
Yeah, I just registered that while I'm saying that. They don't
Well,
actually talk.
that
do
was a
they?
movie. That was a definite movie that existed.
Right? Like the
Yeah.
one with the ring where like Jerry gets the ring stuck on his head.
Yeah, that was weird. That was Tom and Jerry the movie, I believe.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where they got their mage abilities. The one ring to rule them all. That's not.
Well,
Really
it's kind of like maybe the cartoon antics of like summoning anvils and stuff like that to fall on people. Maybe that's
Yeah,
like
I don't think Tom and Jerry had
there's
an
like
anvil.
a
It was
deep
all-
lore here we weren't aware of,
Yeah.
guys. I
Yeah,
know,
Like
right?
Tom and
Like
Jerry
cartoon stuff,
almost
stuff.
never speak, but they speak in Tom and Jerry the movie, which is the
They do.
movie that yeah.
I remember that.
There you
Would
go.
it
It was weird.
bomb by chance? Because that seems like it would destroy it.
It did okay.
You heard
I
it
think
here
did okay.
first, folks.
But not the new movie, right? Not the one with
They talk in that one too, I
Chloe.
think. No, wait, do they?
They do?
Okay,
Chloe
just
Grace
to,
Moretz.
to clarify here, the new movie. When
Came out
was
like
that?
last year.
2021, yeah.
2020?
It's
There's a
with
Tom and Jerry movie that came
live
out.
action, yeah.
Yeah,
Completely
Very
Chloe
bombed.
quiet.
Yeah.
It did not make waves.
Okay, so I didn't yell about it a lot because I feel like I would
You
have.
did not.
So
There's a reason you haven't heard about it.
okay, well I guess that sums that up for me. Thanks.
Mhm.
All right.
They had to put a movie out or lose the license, probably. So
I'm 100% sure of something like that. It does. It
I totally didn't know.
bombed
About
so
that.
badly.
I just
there's,
thought
there's a lot
we
of
were calling
licenses
another
where it's like
Brendan saying,
Well,
saying
they
that
own
just
that
came out. It
license.
was like 47 years ago. He's gonna hurt me. There's a screen between us. Thank God. I can
well,
see
yeah, we'll see how it does because these things like Nickelodeon's thing was kind of big for like a week and then that dropped off too.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we'll see what kind of legs it has. But
Has
But
anybody
as
played
a-
that one? The Nickelodeon one?
I've played that one as well. The problem with that
not
one is
very
that it didn't
good.
have any voice acting, and it didn't have like it missed so many like features at launch. Multiversus is in a much better place already. So like as a foundation, it's solid.
All right. I think I may actually
could
try that
be.
after the way you talked about it and the fact that I can play at places that aren't at my computer.
Let's play some Multiversus. Let's queue up. I'll be Wonder Woman.
There you go. I gotta go.
Did they add the voices into the Nickelodeon game by now? or
They
is that
did.
something-
They patched
did?
it. Yeah.
It's bizarre
Weird.
thing to launch without that.
Like, that seems
you
like
have all these
something you'd
iconic
want to
cartoon
launch.
characters. Yeah, exactly. You've got like all these iconic Nickelodeon characters that are pretty much defined by their voices.
Yeah.
And you
Like, SpongeBob is his voice.
mash all together without it though. It's fine.
Yeah, weird.
And that
I don't
didn't-
know.
that
I've
didn't
seen a
kill that
lot of
game's
weird
launch.
YouTube videos with fake SpongeBob voices, and they
Mm.
haunt me. So Here's this.
Was
Even
Elsa
even looking at
next?
the roster for the Nickelodeon one, I mean, outside of like SpongeBob and the turtles and then the Avatar stuff, I'm like,
When
well,
did that one happen now?
this
like a
was
few months ago.
earlier,
Last
yeah.
fall.
I think I thought they were the same thing until recently. Like I think I thought it was coming, and then
wish.
when I heard Multiversus, I thought that was still it, and
Yeah,
didn't
came
know that it
October
actually
last year.
happened.
Well, because these two were announced around the same time too, right? So it seemed like we had this rash of Smash
I just
clones now that the
didn't
DLC was
think
done
more
for
than
Smash
one.
Ultimate.
I just didn't think more than one would be coming at the same time, and just assumed they were the same and accepted it.
Yep.
But I guess I was wrong, and one sucks and one doesn't. So there we are.
Yeah, this new
There
one.
you
Look,
go.
I have to say they had a similar art style though, but this one
Mhm.
definitely has. Warner Brothers has a big roster of characters. I kind of am shocked that Nickelodeon didn't do better with it because those are very iconic concepts, and they didn't do anything with it. Like it just didn't hit any of the marks.
I
Well,
don't think
there's an
Nickelodeon
age,
follows you the
like
same way.
there's a
Yeah.
generational thing too, right? Because like some modern Nickelodeon things, like I will not recognize, but when they throw Ren and Stimpy in there, I'm like, hell yeah, and kids are like, who the hell is that? So
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like the Nickelodeon stuff that we watched when we were kids grew up with us, but didn't stick around for the younger generation. And the stuff that is
Right.
for the younger generation didn't hit any of us. Whereas with Warner Brothers, there's a lot across everything. Like
Yeah.
I know the cartoony stuff, but I also know, I guess maybe kids won't get it. So maybe it's not just meant for kids, right?
And
Like I don't even know if
it's
most kids would know who Shaggy is at this point. There's probably
they
still Scooby-Doo
do,
somewhere.
They
they
do.
do,
They?
they
Shaggy, they go
do.
through
I
memes
didn't
at
know.
Random
least.
question. This is a side tangent. Did the
Okay.
weird like adult cartoon Thelma show actually come out?
I think that's a porn you're talking about.
No.
No, there was wasn't Mindy
Yeah.
Kaling developing that one?
Which one?
The
Mindy
Mindy
Kaling?
Kaling.
That's amazing if she was.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
God.
that's
Google.
right.
All I'm finding is the movie from 2017, Norwegian supernatural thriller drama.
Well, the HBO Max one.
Yeah,
I will watch anything Mindy Kaling does.
Yeah,
Announced
There's
early.
like a Velma TV show. I know.
Yeah,
but
that's
there's
what
no
you're
set.
talking about.
Oh,
The new
that's the
animated
same?
series was announced in early 2021 for HBO Max with Mindy Kaling, billed as
Kaling?
both
Kaling.
executive producer and the voice of the titular character.
Yeah, and it's supposed
Cool.
to be like darker, and it's more, I guess, not quite as
More
adult.
adult animation is what it says.
Yes. Well, it's like they're
Velma's gonna
following
get
the
naked in it.
cue of what's it called? The Harley Quinn show that is doing really well for them. Kind of going
There's
all
a
out
there's a
and-
screenshot I just saw that like Mindy Kaling showing it off at an event, and it's a very graphic murder scene that she's at. So yeah, it's
dig that.
definitely seems much more adult.
That's actually super cool to see. I assume she's grown up now in the show.
No, I think she's still teenager. It's in like high
Yeah.
school and stuff like that. Yeah.
Bro, I
It's
imagine,
an
yeah.
origin story thing. Yeah,
Oh, but okay.
Don't worry about it. Just run with it.
it's fine.
The Harley Quinn Poison Ivy show was really well received, also for portraying relationships between the two titular characters. So that was also really good, like a mature relationship. That was
I just
fun
want you to know that my cats' names are Harley and Ivy. Anyway,
for a reason.
just wanted to share.
The more you know.
That's my news.
Knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe.
What just came out of your mouth?
Where
Okay.
are the GI Joes in all of this? Where's their multi?
Who
Yeah,
owns
the-
GI Joe? Hasbro.
Hasbro owns the
Hasbro
G-Joe
owns
stuff,
Hasbro
I
could
know.
get their own game. Hasbro's got some things.
Warner Brothers did the movie, didn't they?
Who knows?
There was a GI Joe movie.
There's a live action
yeah.
one that just came out
Two of
like
them.
the
Multiple, yeah.
Channing
Can
Tatum
you
was in
tell
it.
this was not my fan base?
I
Wilson,
didn't really
Channing
like.
Tatum was in it,
I
I
didn't
think.
watch it either, to be honest. But
I never
Bruce
watched
Wilson?
G.I. Joe, never had any G.I. Joe thing ever.
No, I think
See-
GI Joe was like even older than me. Like even when I was a kid, I think GI Joe was still kind of on its way up.
Do you remember the
Maybe not.
days
Yeah.
of like Mugans and like having like your own characters, like importing sprites and stuff? That's the kind of
Oh, yeah.
world I want to live in, but like
I
fighting
have
games.
no
So like
idea what
you,
you're talking about.
so like I remember being like 7 and 8 and downloading like this game called a game engine called Mugen, and then
Right.
you would import characters made by so many other people into like this massive like fighting game that you created. It was the best. So like you would have Goku fight Shaggy. You know, that is the ultimate fighting game in terms of like rosters.
That's fair.
Just trying to see Hasbro has the Transformers and GI Joe, but I'm sure they got other stuff. They could probably do their own multi.
Hasbro has
Smash
GI
clone.
Joe, Transformers, Wizards of the Coast. They own everything Wizards of the Coast. So D&D, Magic the Gathering. They produce Pokemon cards. All the
We're
board
producing
games
them.
like Clue. They own that. Monopoly, Candyland.
Wait,
Barbie,
Hasbro
probably?
makes Pokemon trading cards.
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
So for now, I think Pokemon's taking that over again.
They license it for
believe.
North America. I think the Pokemon company owns it in Japan, and it's a
Hmm.
weird thing. And they did that because they have a 30-year license with them, which I think actually might be running out soon. Because they did that when because they had all the money from Magic.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, yeah, you could do GI Joe, Transformers, and they own Saban, so you could throw the Power
Saban.
Rangers in there too.
No,
Saban.
and now Saban is owned by Disney.
Did they really?
Yeah, Saban is owned by Disney now. Why do I know that? Don't. I went
I
on
don't
a
even
weird
know
deep dive, just looking at old shows. So
Yeah, because they were
That
listed
sounds
under
right
like
up your alley.
subsidiaries like recently for Hasbro. So
I believe. Let's not go into it, but it's a large I think the toy rights are with Hasbro, but Disney owns any film rights related to Saban.
Oh, okay. So it's toys.
Because
stuff like that then.
technically, I think Saban was bought by Fox Kids, which then got merged into the merger with Disney. So now it's owned by
What is
Disney.
Saban?
Power Rangers.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. There we go.
I
I was
loved
like, I
Fox
don't
Kids
recognize this
shows.
word. I loved Power Rangers.
Basically, any show from Japan that kind of was weirdly redubbed or just basically translated, probably Saban if it was on Fox Kids.
Okay, I mean,
Kamen Rider.
the Power Rangers were not in that situation when I watched them, but
It was a Japanese show.
No, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
They basically refilmed the scenes with the kids, but originally it was a bunch of Japanese kids, and they just changed it so it was North American kids. And then the scenes with the giant robots and the thing, well, that was all done with the original footage from Japan.
well, that's neat. I just meant they
Yeah.
weren't like horribly dubbed over when I watched them.
Oh yeah.
And at
Oh.
one point, one was
You
named
only
Taylor.
notice it when like Rita talks because the Rangers are wearing
Now
helmets
I've
and
got to
stuff,
go
right?
back and see how much of my childhood was a lie. Thank you.
If you go back and look at Power Rangers clips now, you'll see all the seams.
It's real weird.
Also notice that Saban owns Beetleborgs, or
Oh yeah, it would.
Hasbro has Beetleborgs through them or something.
Brendan,
through
did you
them.
learn all
There you
this
go.
through your weird YouTube show?
No.
Well, that sounded
You have a
like
weird
deep
YouTube
dive.
show?
But not his weird. When he
Oh.
watches. What's that called? What are we
I was
plugging
watching I was on a weird deep dive into Toy Galaxy, plugging that channel, I guess. They just do a look at weird shows and toys from the 80s and 90s. And I was like, I'm just going to watch random things about these things I used to watch. And there we go.
Is this where all your knowledge comes from?
No, I also, the toys that
He
made us
looked
gave me
into
some.
it twice now.
Mm.
The toys
It's
that
like
made us,
the toys that made us, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
If I can plug one thing, I'll plug there's a Disney Plus documentary on like the Japanese Spider-Man, which is also the origin for Power Rangers for the mechs for some reason.
Okay.
It's really, really good. Marvel
These things don't go
616.
together.
No, apparently like they did to differentiate Spider-Man in Japan. They put Spider-Man in a car like this giant mech, which would then went on to inspire Power Rangers. It's crazy.
I
that
don't
was a
understand
crazy
the world.
show. Yeah,
I don't understand the
that was
world
a
at
trip.
all. The world is
Um,
dumb.
The world is real dumb. And on
But
that
it's
note, I think
amazingly dumb.
it's incredibly dumb. And on that note, we're going to release you all into that world again, because I
Are we?
think it's gonna probably do it for us for this week. If you'd like to read more on most of these topics except that weird toy tangent,
Nope,
you
that's
can find
fucking somewhere.
I'm
Oh.
sure there's something.
in pieces somewhere. But you can find full coverage on that at cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. Just search CG Mag, you'll find us. And if you have any questions or comments, send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com. Edward, where can people find you?
You can find me on CG Mag online under my name, Edward Gafton, or on Twitter under my name, Edward Gafton. Message me. My DMs are open, get in touch.
Or find him at Gamescom.
Or find me at Gamescom, yeah, say hi to me.
Hey. Awkward. Oh, yes, We pointed right. You can find me on most socials at the Dana Eileen, or just go find me on CG Mag, and that's how you'll spell my name.
And I am BFry26 on everything. So Twitter, LinkedIn. You got the idea.
TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. And with the other two, Instagram.
Like he forgot
Fine.
what social medias exist.
Be real.
Yeah. There you go.
Vine, MySpace. all
Wonder
those.
if I still have does MySpace still work?
They lost a lot of them, but they kind of backed up some of them after Justin Timberlake bought this company.
Weird tangents.
That's going to be a conversation
Crazy.
for another time.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris, where can
conglomerates,
people find
fine.
you other than MySpace and Justin?
You can find me
Timberlake?
owned by Hasbro. No, you can find me on Twitter at Hugathy or here on Twitch at Guild2Taps. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week as my voice dies.
Nice.